Right now, chapter 17 is going to be all about using regular expressions some more. Hope you're not tired of them because they're really, really important. And so this is a common thing that many people would try to a game that people would try to program to learn Python or to learn some language that we're going to recreate Mad Libs, which honestly I really did enjoy playing and doing those with my friends when I was a kid. And so the way that we're going to write this one is that the bits that we're going to be looking for are going to be placed in angle brackets, and I chose angle brackets for a couple reasons. One is that it looks a lot like HTML, and at the end we're going to talk about parsing HTML, and so we're looking for these words that are going to be enclosed in angle brackets, and that's going to be the parts of speech that we're going to be asking the user for. So for instance, we've been looking at the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. We've looked at that text, used it a few times. If we were to make that into kind of a Mad Libs input, we would say the quick adjective noun jumps preposition the lazy noun. And so we're going to be trying to find all the things that occur inside the angle brackets. And then this will be the first exercise where we're going to use the input function to ask the user, for instance, if we're running this program with that as the input, and there's an inputs directory that's inside the 17 Mad Libs directory. Inside there is going to be a fox.txt that's going to look like this. And so we'll say, give me an adjective. And you notice here we need to say an adjective. So what we're going to be using goes all the way back to the crow's nest there to choose the correct article. And then we're going to say, give me a noun, because that's the next one. Give me a preposition, the next one, and then a noun. And then once we have reached the end of we've gotten all the placeholders for that, we're going to spit out the new text is going to be the quick surly car jumps under the lazy bicycle. So very silly. The other way we're going to be able to run this program, though, is to provide all those inputs on the command line. And that's going to be important for testing. So there's a couple reasons for introducing this program. One of which is to delve further into regular expressions. I think that they're just a fascinating subject, and I think that you really, really should understand them. Another is that how do you write an interactive program that asks input from the user? And then how do you test an interactive program? So there's going to be a couple of levels here. First off, we can always write unit tests. We can always write functions and then test for those functions, even inside an interactive program. And you're going to see that when we finally get to the last tic-tac-toe version that we write. So even if you're writing a program that's going to be dynamically accepting input from the user using the input function, you can still break your code down into functions and units for the unit tests for those functions. So that's a way that we could approach testing interactive programs. But another way that we could do it is to, for instance, here, supply on the command line all the answers that our program would need in the course of asking for those things. So I'm only programming this. The inputs are just used for the testing purposes, so that I can make sure your program works. But it is something to think about, like how would you go about testing interactive games, like if you wanted to make a hangman or something like that. So since I'm only giving these to you for testing, there are going to be a few checks that you don't really have to do. Like if you were really trying to incorporate this as a feature of your program, you'd really have to like make sure, for instance, that you had the right number of inputs for the right number of placeholders in your text. You're not really going to have to worry about that. So some of the things that we're going to talk about in this is how to use sysexit to halt your program and indicate an error. We're going to talk about greedy matching in regular expressions. We haven't talked about that before. We've looked at like RE search, RE match, RE split, those functions out of the regular expression module. This time we're going to talk about RE find all, really, really useful. And then another one, RE sub, for substituting the patterns that are found with some sort of new text that you give. And then we're going to just talk about syntactically how we can enter regular expressions in our programs in such a way that they're readable and documented. So that's what we're going to be covering in this exercise.